Good morning. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Williamson County Board of Commissioners meeting. Tonight is Thursday, November 30th, 2023. It's 9:01 a.m. Roll call, please.
Tonight,
Present.
Jim Marlowe.
Present. Present.
All right, moving to the agenda. Is there any old business that we need to discuss this morning? Hearing no old business, we'll move on down to new business. The 22-23 final second amended budget for the highway department. Travis, you want
Well, we presented some changes to the budget for 23, 15, 16 days ago, to accommodate for the revenue, the tax revenue not coming in on the 22-23 payable of taxes before the end of fiscal year. So we made some adjustments in the budget to cover that. And I think this is the 15, 16 days that was approved.
So we're ready to approve it. Okay.
Yeah, if you guys are ready, I'm ready.
We have a motion to approve this amended budget.
So moved. Second.
Roll call, please.
Tim Atkinson.
Yeah.
Jim Marlowe.
Yeah.
Jim Racer.
Yeah.
Tom, you're on deck.
All right. Did get quotes for some modified limits. But not very interesting, at least not to me. This is updated, so if you go to the second page there, in the blue ink, that's the options that are updated. And so, we were talking 71,000 change for the $30 million excess. So if they shaved 10 million off, they only shaved about $6,000 off. They cut it in half. It only goes down by $10,000. That's not. That does not make sense. And just to kind of fill in what we're going through on this a little bit, I included some correspondence and another quote we have received. When we're dealing with like reinsurance and excess companies, a lot of times we have to use intermediaries because these are what a lot of the insurers that do this are called excess and surplus lines insurers. And under the regs, we have to those products can only be delivered through a wholesale excess and surplus lines agent. That's why we're going to them instead of direct to an insurance company. So this Novate is a national brokerage firm, and this particular person, Donna Higgins, I've worked with for 30 years on excess property and large property accounts. And she's probably written more pneumatic fault earthquake insurance than anybody else. And she's told us her Axis and ICAT. But what the other markets want to do that she's approached is they only want to take 5 million. So they want us to go out and find six markets to share the 5 million. And they want to charge like 20,000, 45,000 a piece for the 5,000. And that's what that quote is there. Yeah. So that's what we keep encountering. So, that kind of throws what we're getting from that present insurer that we've had for a number of years, looks better than the other offers out there, but it's not good. So with that, it's what's your pleasure, I guess, what direction would you like to go?
Yeah, I don't see an attractive way to go on any of these. Julie, you
And again, this excess earthquake expires December 1, but you still got 10 million in force. So, for $71,000, you have to make a decision today. If it's, if you feel like you're saying you're gun to your head, you could contemplate that a little bit more, the allocation of those funds and what you want to do with them.
I think that's where we need to go. I think the board needs to maybe think about whether or not we want to pursue
Right, yeah.
Once again,
Yeah, the only thing that we may, if we do that, these offers will probably expire, and we'll have to go back and reallocate. There's no reason for me to believe, I mean, that they would, it's the same thing, they'll be available, a month from now, 2 weeks from now, whatever.
so Tom, once again, options, go over the options.
Okay, well, okay, so,
Option one.
yeah. What we had in force was, with the insurance company of the West, which is the excess carrier. We've got $10 million earthquake advice guarantee. We've been carrying $30 million excess of that with insurance company of the West.
Mhm.
And for this current year, the policy that ends December 1st, they charged you $55,000 for it. Okay, so what they are offering now for the same thing, it would be $71,460 for the 30 million. And then for lower options of 20 million or 15 million, they're just shaving a little bit off the top, but it doesn't change the price. And one of the comments she alluded to in one of the ICAT declined to quote because of total insured value. That total insured value, they're talking about the exposure of the 71 million. Okay, and ICAT is one of the largest catastrophe insurance. Like nationally, they do earthquake, flood, wind. So it looks like it's kind of a systemic problem right now, a problem with the markets. Barring actual earthquake activity in the Midwest, I'd be surprised to see this continue. I mean, I would think that if at some point, because, I mean, certainly the wind category and the flood category, you've got a lot of activity, a lot of claims, a lot of capacity tied up. But not so earthquake, like nobody's just paying on Midwest earthquake insurance. So, hopefully those things will return at some point to something.
If the board would decide to go with the excess, it's your opinion, the 30 million mark is the best value.
Well, yeah, the savings to me, I mean, there's a lot of ways to look at that, but I would, it looks to me like the decision is between staying with the 30 million, 71 million portfolio. Just keep putting that money back in your pockets. Do something else with it.
And that's kind of what I was looking at. It's either
It's an off and on.
Yeah, all or nothing.
Yeah.
And we had 10 million.
Yeah. And like, Kim and I discussed a little bit last week, and of course, I'm not supposed to be calling people out about insurance, but I bet, we do that a little bit, there's better ways to do things than buy insurance sometimes. And if you have 10 million in place, and, the county would sustain major damage to the earthquake, I think that there are going to be resources available. You're going to see federal low interest loans and disaster assistance and certainly, even with your 10 million, you would probably be much better condition most local governments try to recover from that. Because a lot of those things, as we've also discussed, the way these things are handled in a lot of insurance programs, people don't realize the underlying problems in those coverages in a lot of programs that they find out, well, we've got 10 million, but oh, wait a minute, that's shared between 30 other, local governments or something. In your case, that's a dedicated coverage. So.
All right, Tom, the other thing was
Yeah, and the other thing just is in consideration, we just go over this from time to time, we haven't for 4 or 5 years, so that's really the liability limits, what you're carrying, what it would cost if you wanted to consider, fortifying that.
So what would it cost on that look like, Tom?
Okay, well, an additional, adding an additional 1 million to your excess, so going from 5 million to 6 is 16,000. And then, all of them are listed there in increments up to the 10 million, so you can see.
Yeah, I'm not gonna this.
Well, it's on it's still on this one, yeah, it's on the last page.
Oh,
Of the one I just gave you.
oh,
There. Or I'm sorry, it's not the last, it's on the last page of the.
okay, here it is.
Yeah, so the pricing's on the page after that, that's what you have now. There we go.
Okay,
That's
there we
it,
go.
that's
There
it,
we
right.
go.
Of course, this is just, speculation on my part, but, my opinion is that the county, faces a greater risk of financial loss. In the liability area, it has an earthquake area, of course, I can be proven wrong tomorrow, but just based on, things that actually do happen. We can consider things
Storm and have it all.
if we consider things that actually do happen. Be aware of and watch the liability. More worrisome than the properties.
You guys have any thoughts about this increase in liability coverage?
And right now, we're at what amount of coverage?
You're at 5 million excess, which gives you, when you combine that with your underlying, it gives you on general liability law enforcement, it gives you 6 million per occurrence and up to 8 million for policy period. 6 million for each accident on auto, if you do pretty good on auto, that takes care of that. And then that's also, public official liability. Doesn't have a treatment aggregate, so it goes up to, your total of 6 million on the public official liability. And the public official liability encompasses, professional liability, exposures for people who, attorneys, engineers, people, you guys don't have a health department, anybody.
On the law,
Professional designation.
Tom, could you kind of give me a breakdown on what law enforcement liability covers?
Yeah, but yeah,
And also, Tom, how many incidents we would cover for?
well, okay, law enforcement, the reason that's a little special, if you think about the way your liability is normally, like in a business or a, personal liability, the one thing that is excluded is intentional acts. So if you intentionally, cause bodily harm to someone else, that's a matter that's normally excluded from liability insurance policies. So when we have law enforcement, activities, that's what makes that form of coverage necessary. So it allows that coverage. So, within a, and the violation of, civil rights and so forth, all that is wrapped up in those types of claims, which usually end up in federal or almost all over. Federal, but then those coverages allow for those. As far as the number of incidents, that is not limited. You would pay no more than, okay, with the present excess, you would pay no more than 5 million for one, and no more than 8 million total for the year.
Did you guys have any other questions about that?
Where can we find any kind of statistics to look at to give us an idea of what's realistic?
Rhett might be able to give us a better idea on that. But aren't a lot of judgments even for governments, aren't those get sealed sometimes with law enforcement to negotiate?
They can't.
They can't? Okay.
So there's different ways that we try to hide them in a personnel file or different things as far as that goes.
Yeah.
Under the Freedom of Information Act,
Okay.
everything is subject to. And so that's one of the things.
Yeah. Are you aware of anything where statistics are available for, settled damages against governments?
I don't know if there's a watchdog group out there that has gone out and FOIA'd all the various, that's how it would come about.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be that any county specifically maintained it. It would
Right,
be-
yeah. I don't know that, I could go back to, if you're considering, tabling the earthquake, you want to table this idea too. I can go back and ask ICRT for, and other insurers if they have anything along those lines. I doubt that. They'd probably be disinclined to share that stuff, even if it doesn't reveal the,
Tim, I think
areas.
a conversation with Josh, who is the new liaison for ICRT
Yeah.
on all law enforcement, may be a good thing for the board, having him come in and talk to you guys. and
Yeah,
say-
because I feel like I don't have enough.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, but I think he would,
Right.
he certainly is former law enforcement, but then also has a real good grasp. They divided the state in two people. One of them's got one half and the other one's got the other half, so ICRT is the largest insurer, so they would be able to give you some,
Just last name Blackwell.
I think it's Blackwell.
Yeah, I'd be happy to arrange for that. And also, we haven't done a claim review for some years. I don't know the current outstanding claims or, I need to look at those. I'll glance at that and if they're gonna bring people down, for reading, maybe we'll have them do that too, just because you guys are.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Why don't we get together and we'll schedule a time for that?
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Okay, sounds good.
Well, Tom, thank you. I appreciate the information.
Okay. Is this something you would, if it could be arranged, would you like to have this meeting in December sometime? Or would you like to push it to the council?
As soon as possible.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay. We will work on that.
We'll get you some days where we can be available.
Okay, very good.
Thank you, Tom. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Next on the agenda is the Paid Leave Act policy. Brad, have you had
Yeah,
opportunity to work on that? I know you had time.
so really what we need to decide is we need to decide what the board wants. So you've got three options. So currently, we provide more than 40 hours of paid leave time between sick, personal, vacation days. You could amend your handbook or policies that carves out 40 hours and says they can be used for any reason we want to ask why. If you did that, then you wouldn't have to change it. And you could go. Now, the downside of that is trying to petition out just 40 hours. So you can put language in there that says, up to 40 hours can be used for absolutely any reason, and we won't ask. And all other hours, we have the right to follow the standard procedure of sick leave and doctor's notes and those types of things. You could pull out 40 hours specifically and call it paid leave and reduce those other categories. But when I talked to Julie yesterday about that, she was not happy. I don't think she completely understood what I was trying to say. Because she said, well, but I'm able to save my sick and throw it to IMRF for service credit. I said, yes, you are. Well, but if you do that, then you're telling me I can't do that. I said, no, I'm telling you, you have less sick days to do that with. That we would take your 3 personal, 2 of your 12 sick days, combine them into your 5 paid leave for all days and deal with it that way. Now, the only thing that I thought of last night after talking with her is her days are 7-hour days, not 8-hour days. We've got to come up with 40 hours,
40 hours.
not 35. So we've got to figure out how to do that as well. So that throws another wrinkle to it, where the standard work week, it makes sense on the 40, but with the others, and it's a 35-hour work week, we've got to come up with 5 more hours. So I really think the best option for the county is still to do a similar, but you may end up having to add 5 hours more than what they currently have. And so you could take the 3 personal, 2 sick, and combine those for the 35, and then add an additional 5 hours, not detracting from anything else. So then they would end up with 10 sick days. They would end up with 40 hours of paid leave for any reason, and then they would still have their vacation time. But again, that's,
And vacation time we use is paid time.
vacation time is up to how your policy is. So you can require people to give you 2 weeks notice before they take a vacation, or you can allow them to take a vacation this morning and say, I'm taking a vacation day. It's up to you. I don't know where, I don't think the county policy defines, but you would certainly have the right to deny a vacation request under the paid leave for all. You're gonna have to be pretty darn sure that there's an operational need to deny the use of the paid leave for all. So that's where that's at, and then you get into your part-timers, but there's not a lot of part-time people. I think Alex has had one part-time person for a brief period of time. So we would still need the policy in place in case somebody did have a part-time, but that's just an accrual
That's
basis
just
in
a
my
rule.
opinion.
So I do have a question about sick days. So if we took the 3 personal days and 2 sick days, they have to use that time.
It's usually, correct.
At some point, they're gonna have to use that time. If they don't use if we turn them into paid sick day or paid leave days, they have to use it. They cannot ever be returned to sick.
You can draft a policy that says if they don't use it in the course of the year, they convert to sick if you want to. So you can also policy that.
Because you see what I'm saying, they use those when they retire, turn them into IMRF.
I get it. For every 20 days, they get 1 month of service credit.
And if we attach paid leave to those 2 sick days, and they use those 2 paid leave days, they lose them as sick days.
I get that.
That was the issue.
And I understood where she was going, but
Yeah.
she was trying to say that it's illegal because IMRF says that we can use this. And I said, no, it's a reclassification of those days into a different category.
I would be more in favor of taking the 2 vacation days. If we have to take 2 extra days, in my opinion, the 3 personal, the 2 vacation, leave the sick days alone. That would be,
Yeah. I mean, it's really a board, we can draft it however you want. We can draft it to where if they don't use their paid leave, then it does convert back to sick and they would potentially gain an extra 3 sick days.
I think most everyone gets 4 personal days.
Okay.
Might just be the one day they
it's
have to
just
do.
1 day.
And at least in my contract, if you don't use your personal payroll,
rolls into a sick day.
Now, the collective bargaining agreements, we don't have to deal with those until they come up for renegotiation.
But what I'm saying is there's precedent for it to roll, for a person to roll into a sick day.
Under your collective bargaining, it doesn't impact anybody else.
But there's
Is
precedent.
there a vacation policy?
Yes. I mean, used to that we have a wait a year, but I think now it's front loaded.
You can front load or you can accrue. I mean, it goes.
There's pros and cons both ways.
Yep. It's really a nightmare. I was saying before the meeting ever started, there's so many different ways that people are doing it.
Yeah.
It's just.
Well, this could always be modified as time goes on.
It is, but we've got a January 1 deadline that we wanted in place.
We play, but then, what I'm
And it
saying,
doesn't go into effect until, they can't use the days until April 1st of this year, of this coming year. Because there's a 90-day sit-out period for the calendar year.
but once it's in place, can it still be modified for your student?
Yeah, you just gotta provide, you gotta provide the minimum.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that says you can't provide more, but you at least have to provide. So if you turned all sick days into unfettered use, you don't have to give me a reason. You meet everything. And then if they don't use them, they still get to roll them. Again, you meet everything. So it really comes down to how you want to handle it. You could create a policy that says we won't ask for any doctor slips on sick. And we won't ask why you're using them. And they'll roll over and they'll still accrue and they'll do all of those things for IMRF purposes, and you meet the requirements of the law.
For the first 48 hours.
You're being for the law. Because every year they'll have 12 days. So I mean, that's another option.
You don't want to say that for all sick days, just for the first 40.
Why? How many times do you deny a sick day and question somebody's sick?
If they're taking.
Nobody does,
2 weeks at a time.
but nobody does. You know, I mean, that's the reality. I mean, we're protecting that of, well, we've got the ability to ask for 3 days, you know, a 3-day sick leave slip, but not. You may be the exception, Travis, that you probably do. And I get that.
But only once they get below 5 days. Would you do it for everyone?
Was below, yeah.
So if you made it 5 days, you would, again, you would still be within your parameters. So as I said,
But our contract says we can ask it any.
your contract, this policy would only deal with non-union employees. The union has to be negotiated when that contract comes up. So like I said, there's a lot of options, guys. I can draft the policy any way you want it. I just need to know how you guys want to do it. Because until Julie's call yesterday, I would have never have given it a thought that was somehow hindering them or penalizing. And what a lot of people don't realize with that sick leave conversion is you have to retire and apply for it within 60 days. So there's a lot of people that'll retire early, not be eligible to start their IMRF, that think that I've saved up my sick time and I'll convert it. And then when they finally go to apply for IMRF, they find out it doesn't convert because it's past the 60-day.
I got a question.
Yeah.
This paid leave act, is that a state mandate?
It is.
Okay, what's the difference between it and the Family Medical Leave Act?
Family Medical Leave Act is unpaid leave.
Okay.
Paid Leave Act is paid leave.
Julie, any discussion about this?
But I think studies. See what the options.
Brett, could you spell out what you've defined as the options and get that to us in an email so that we can look at each one of those a little more in depth individually?
Moving on. Brett, did you have anything on the Hope Trust?
So I reached out to the attorney for the Hope Trust inquired about what the concerns were here, discovered that they had recently amended their requirements that it can be anybody from the employer, it doesn't have to be just an elected official. So, and I was explained that the reason for that is they have added a couple of public school districts, Quincy School District for one. They don't have elected officials as far as that goes, so the trust board made that decision. The executive board for the trust is comprised of, all elected officials. So they look at it as the same as the ICRMT board, which is another trust that has the liability. Their e-board is made up of elected officials as well. They don't believe there's a conflict. I did talk to Ted about this. He wants to make sure that if any of the board members decide that they want to be that representative, that they're clean and clear, and I don't disagree with that. He had mentioned potentially asking the AG for an opinion on it and some other things, which again, I don't have a problem with. Or if the board wanted to put somebody that was a non-elected official, then you definitively don't have a problem with it. I think where it gets confusing is that this is an intergovernmental agreement and that each county that participates in the intergovernmental agreement is having a voice on the board to make decisions for the group as a whole. So you're not losing your role as the county board member, you're participating in it. But I get where there's enough gray that we want to make sure that that's where it's at. I'm fairly confident, but I also respect Ted's opinion that he wants to make sure it's clean and clear too. So
After I had a conversation with you, I did call the state's attorney and I requested an opinion, that he get an opinion from the attorney general's office on this.
Yeah.
Because we want to, whatever we do, we want to be right.
right, no, absolutely, and that's what I said. I didn't want it to be, well, just because everybody else is doing it, it's okay.
Exactly.
I think it is okay. From the research that I've done, I think there's a division. It's not another, it's not one of you guys running as a township official or, on something else that has a conflict of interest and it's an incompatible office. So I think it's okay, but.
Right.
I don't have a problem.
I talked to Jacob Jansen about that, and I asked him that very question. He said, absolutely. He said that, I said, are other board members on that open sport? He said, yes. He says, actually, that's what they would like to see.
Right.
So.
No, I mean, like, as I said, but I respect Ted's opinion and decision that he wants to be clean and clear. And ultimately, both Ted and I's interest is protecting you guys.
Yeah, sure.
That we don't run you afoul
Sure.
and end up having some legal action taken against you guys for doing something.
Sure.
I can't agree more with that.
So the trust said you can do nothing at this point, that's fine. And then later on decide where you want to go, or you could put somebody that's not elected. I think their next meeting's in 3 months anyway, so
No, we have time.
it's not a big deal.
So is Ted going to reach out to the AG?
He is. But, I made a formal request, so. Any other new business? Let's move on now to the highway department, next on the agenda. The Spray subdivision, Seymour Place subdivision.
I think spray is one of the.
That's next to the table.
Yeah, you tabled it. And had some conversations, Commissioner Marlowe about that, you know, investigate that a little further, and I think maybe now he's satisfied with that.
Yep.
Was there any other discussion you two wanted to have about it?
Well, I'm ready to
Just
act.
as, you
You
know,
guys are ready to act on that?
it's perfect.
Make a motion that we approve the Spray subdivision.
I do approve variance first.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you need to approve the variance, I'm sorry.
We don't, we have the variance in place.
You have, if you don't have, I've got one right here. Right here. You got one. You give you a brief on it, basically, section 5.01 of the subdivision ordinances says that you can have 75-foot frontage. This is asking the areas of that 75 foot because of 3 foot access / utility that runs it. That's what you're approving.
Okay, we'll modify the motion. Yeah, approve the variance. Straight subdivision.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Tim Atkinson.
Yeah.
Jim Marlowe.
Yeah.
Jim Razor.
Sorry about that, guys.
Now, with the subdivision having been, be approved.
I think so. I think that's the way that go again.
Okay.
Call it on me too.
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve the subdivision?
We're talking about the spring subdivision.
Yes, sir.
So,
Second.
Roll call, please.
Tim Atkinson.
Yeah.
Jim Marlowe.
yeah,
Jim Razor.
You give me see that here?
And the original's right here, guys, for your signature afterwards. I will remind everybody, last I checked, the taxes were not paid on that.
Right, and today's the last day.
Today's the last day. The first payment had not been made. So today's the last day for the first and second payment. So,
We'll check it.
yeah, she'll check anything. Next subdivision is Seymour Place, and we went through this, checked it out, all the ordinances are met, there's no variances required. And again, the taxes on this one are still not been, the current taxes. So, there's 2 lot subdivision off Peoria Road,
What's the name of the road?
Peoria Road, which is off of, Harrington City Road, Stoller. Yeah, up around Touchdown area, and it's just, they're splitting the 2 lots, like 4 acres into 2 lots. So everything looks good. No new roads. Alex's crews checked it out. Everything's
Got
good.
the good frontage, everything?
Got everything, met everything. That, I got the email from Alex's crew that did stuff. And as far as the highway's concerned, there's no new roads, so it's all good.
So everybody satisfied?
Yep.
You have to take a look at
You want to look at this?
before we approve
Again, after talking to Commissioner Marlowe last week, I'm gonna start emailing these subdivisions to you guys ahead of time. We're gonna scan them in and just email them to you with variances. So, these are the 2 lots, and just stop over here, Johnson. Keep reading. On the information of both lots. Got all the proper stuff over here, signatures, just have to get everybody has on.
Any other questions about that? Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion to approve the Seymour Place subdivision.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Tim Atkinson.
Yeah.
Jim Marlowe.
Yeah.
Jim Razor.
Yeah.
Resolutions or ordinances for board appointments or water board appointments. Public comment. Does anybody have a public comment they'd like to make? Mike, you doing all right?
Sure, how you doing?
I'm
Good
doing
to
well.
see all of you. I know everybody here.
Yeah, Mike is a neighbor in my neighborhood and voiced interest in coming down and seeing how we do business. All right, glad to have you here.
Very well.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
It is my understanding that the board today took action on the second amended budget, but that there is already some changes to that.
Yes.
No, that was a first amended budget
Yes.
that we approved.
Yeah, and then there was a second.
Right.
that we approved today after the waiting period. But then there was a last meeting, we discussed a third amendment to change the, remember it was because the revenues weren't coming in at the same time, it was two accounts that we were going to update.
But
And
if those changes that you knew after publication, prior to adoption, were incorporated into that one, then we don't have to do a third amended.
okay, so I think that was discussed at the last board meeting with King.
Okay.
She said, I thought she said we had to.
She didn't talk to you about that. I think she put those third changes in.
Oh, she did?
Yes.
She put the third
Yes.
changes in, so.
Yes.
Okay, that's, so, okay, just want to make sure. So narrowly, there's not a third change, it's just the second amendment.
This was it, as far
Okay.
as I was, as I knew.
I didn't know about the other conversation afterwards.
Yeah.
And I got to look at that, I'm like, ooh, something's.
Because we talked about it being like the 10th, that we posted.
Okay.
Make a change.
Didn't know. I just want to make sure that was incorporated.
Okay, are we good?
Yes, I got a message asking about a third amended budget, and so before we got out of this meeting, if we had to undo anything, I wanted to get it addressed.
Sure.
Because my advice was, it's the same as
See, I
putting it on display and then making the changes during that period of time. We don't have to go through the formality.
Yeah, that's easy. I just want to make sure I wasn't aware of that other conversation. Stephanie made me aware, but I wanted to double check.
Okay.
Good.
Okay, so as of right now, I believe we're correct.
Yes,
Subject to change.
yes, I think the board was correct, and knew what was there.
Everything we do is subject.
Everything we did was subject to change. Yeah. All right, anything else on public comment? Okay, moving on down to miscellaneous. Are there any ARPA? Arlen, they got any ARPA or anything like that for us?
Ashley signed up today.
Okay, I don't have any travel reimbursements. You guys have any? Okay, road extension project, we're still waiting on the 50 square foot piece of property that does not have, that we don't, that
66 square feet. They are going through quiet title proceedings. And Jackson County has expressed an interest that they want to proceed with the transfer until they, I think, they're still talking.
I think at the very beginning of this, we were pretty clear about having to have all the titles.
And I've asked them for, title commitments, as well as the plat survey and a draft Board Mtg. So as soon as they give us that, then I will review it and pass it along to Brett. And then once we approve that, then we'll ask them title policy.
Perfect. Anything else you want to talk about?
No, we're proceeding with our roundabout project. The land acquisition seems to be going pretty well. Hope to get that
You're talking about the
Skyline Crenshaw. So hope to have that on at least a summer landing for sure. Maybe build as early as next fall.
I will give you guys an update. That reminded me of something. I had a meeting with the sheriff last night. One of the things we talked about was about a week ago, the mayor of Merritt, Mike Absher, contacted me. And he and I went out on Skyline and on Crenshaw. And then is that Bandy building that goes north up
Yes.
Crenshaw? So we went out there. He had gotten a complaint about trash and those kinds of things. And apparently we have trash trucks going out there that are not tarred. By state law, they're supposed to be tarred. And I've asked the sheriff to have patrols out there to try to stop that. I think you've been out there a couple times to clean it up. People have, I think, in the past on Crenshaw.
On Crenshaw, Vandyville's here.
Yeah.
But yeah, Crenshaw and Skyline.
So, just want to give you a heads up on that. It was just one of the things that popped up this week. And I only have one other thing. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to talk about before?
Yeah, I do, Mr. Chairman. I've been in contact with Mark Dillon concerning the animal control building. I think, I told him I'd address the issue today. I think we need to get back on track with the animal control building project. So what I'd like to ask is if you guys could make maybe some possible dates that I can get back with Mark.
Okay. Can we send those dates to you? Do you have any
Yeah.
idea about what time frame you're looking at?
I'm talking about maybe, I don't know about next week, but, Wednesdays or afternoons are always good for us. So we'll just start off with whatever Wednesday, could be December. We got the 6th, 13th,
This,
and the 20th.
this Wednesday, I have something that we might want to have a meeting either Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday about. That was what I was going to bring up next. After this week, after December 7th, I would be, December 7th and on, I could meet. Or we can meet in the morning, we can have 2 meetings. But I have Monday morning, Tuesday, and Wednesday afternoon is possible time for me to meet. And to talk about this. So,
You want to shoot for Tuesday afternoon?
well, Tuesday afternoon, I'd really like you guys to think about having a meeting for this. We got a letter from the state's attorney's office detailing some changes in the wages. And this was after we had approved the final budget. I think you guys got a copy of this letter from the state's attorney's office. But it might be creating some budget issues that I would really like to take care of sooner rather than later. And I was in contact with Kim this morning about the budget, and she's available Monday morning, Tuesday afternoon, and Wednesday afternoon of this next week. You're wide open, so I just need enough time to get an agenda out.
Well,
And
that letter, though, is dealing with collective bargaining as far as wages for the ASAs. So I don't think you have to have an agenda. I think we could go and have a meeting with collective bargaining. And I received a call from Skelter as well, knowing that December 1's coming up. He was wanting to get to the table within the year of their expiration, which is December 1.
Yeah.
To discuss the rest of the assistant state's attorneys, which would certainly have some budget impact for you potentially along the same lines as that. So I think you could do it if you wanted to, without having to go into a formal meeting and recorded closed session to discuss that. We could do that under collective bargaining,
Okay,
if you so desire.
okay. I just know that there's a few things in we need to clean up as far as.
Now, you won't be able to take any budget action without a meeting, but you would be able to have the discussions as to impact on the collective bargaining.
It was my thought on this entire process that I thought this letter was preliminary because we had talked about at December 1 opening that up. Right. And I think I'm on the same page with you that if addressing this before we close that up, we may have to do 2 adjustments here where if we get the order right, we can do it once. I think you're right. We just need to get into opening that up, getting that taken care of, and then anything we haven't addressed on this list, then we can come back to that.
And I'm fine with that. I just don't want a lot of time to pass before we deal
So
with
Tim, on
this
Tuesday,
budget.
if you wanted, I could get a hold of Skelter and see if we could have the opening meeting of the assistant state's attorneys and then move straight into discussion of both of those.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do that. Let's do that Tuesday afternoon. You send us a time?
Well, I mean, we'll just, I'll send him 1 o'clock and we'll see what he says.
How about Wednesday?
You're talking about Tuesday the 5th?
Tuesday the 5th?
Yeah.
Wide open.
Are you wide open on Wednesday also?
As well.
How about you, Jim?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's give him 2 days, Tuesday and Wednesday.
Will this affect your payroll for next week? Or will I just go with,
Go with what you have right now.
so I've made no changes to the state's attorney's office as a whole at this point? So,
Let me get back to you on that, Laura.
okay. Payroll opens tomorrow.
Do what I can.
I know.
With the exception of the letter, everybody else is covered under the collective bargaining agreement. and there is
Everybody
no-
else is collect.
There is no change,
There
so
is no change.
absent that, that's the only thing that she would have.
That's all that she, yeah, that's all that she really needs is the collective bargaining agreement, which is what I was gonna tell you. So it's, whatever that collective bargaining agreement is, what people can pay. Even,
That's it.
even the state's attorneys, even the attorneys, over there, because their contract is still in force.
Getting back to the annual.
Well, now we have Tuesday, Wednesday, so.
Somehow we got back to you.
Ted would argue,
Once again,
he's more important than animal control.
once again. What days?
Tuesday morning, Wednesday morning,
Again, I'm wide open every day next week, so just tell me when to be here.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday,
Okay,
Tuesday morning, Wednesday morning, Thursday all day.
okay, I can do Thursday morning. Yeah, Thursday morning. I can do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday morning. So why don't I run that by Mark?
I was gonna say.
And see what he says, okay? So tentatively, let's do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday morning.
Absolutely. I'll keep it open for those guys. Is there anything else from anybody here? You heard? Well, then, is there a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn. Second.
Roll call, please.
Jim Atkinson.
Yeah.
Jim Marlowe.
Yeah.
Jim Miller.